thing about this Cobbler's Choice Company leather cream, they do tell you on, I bought it off of Amazon, but it's a family made in the U.S. business, and they say it will darken your leather, you know, so it's something that people use for boots or a tote or purse or something that's made of leather. Also, traveler's notebooks. So that's what I'm going to experiment with tonight with you. This is the Waypoint Cherry Sky from Chic Sparrow. You can see, I hope, I never know about my lighting, but it has been changing. It's evolving. So it really came as a dark, rich red. It almost looks brown now here as it's fading. It's a pretty leather. And it smells good. I always have to sniff the leather. Much darker here. You can see, well, I keep saying that. I hope you can see. It's lighter here. So it is developing a bit of personality here. Still much darker, lighter here. And I'm not sure, actually, to be honest, if the lighter or the darker is more the patina. But it looks very irregular. It's not unbecoming, but I just thought it would be a pretty one to experiment on. It seems like as it is patinaing, is that a word? It's getting more shiny, more slick feeling. And this is the Rustic Kodiak. This is by Speckled Fawns. This was my second purchase of a traveler's type notebook, and I absolutely love everything about this notebook. It's a thick spine. I like that in this case. I wouldn't want that in every traveler's notebook. It's, you know, carrying a little brick, but I love this. I love the rustic look so much. But also, I am seeing that it's getting lighter. Now, I guess that's just the natural course of leather. I guess it can darken or it can lighten. In this case, it is seeming to lose the rich, deep, dark brown color and kind of turning into a much lighter notebook. Again, it's not altogether bad, but I love the deep, dark, rich color. You can see it quite a bit still along the stitching, and it's just funny. It's just fading away. This is kind of how I hold it. You know, I'll pick it up like this, and you can see almost kind of this part of my hand or thumb and thumb up here. So I thought it might be fun to try this leather cream on these two notebooks and see. I treated a tote bag that I have. It has old leather on it, and it did help it to become more supple. It deepened the color, which slightly, which I really liked. Got a piece of fuzz in there. Get that out. I don't want to rub that into my notebook. Anyway, so I was happy with it on the tote bag. The tote bag was manufactured or constructed using recycled leather, and it just seemed quite dry, and I wanted to treat it. This just says to put on a clean, dry cloth. This is an old washcloth, but it is clean. So let's work it in and see. It's funny, I was just doing a video on inks that I have that are red and saying I don't really feel drawn to red anymore. I used to really be drawn to red. I think my mom brainwashed me as a kid. She loved red, so everything I got was red. Anyway, I'm not necessarily drawn to it, and yet I keep buying red things. So, well, that's kind of funny. But maybe you can see this is really enriching the look of this leather, which was looking kind of sad to me. Don't know how much this will last once it dries, but I do kind of feel happy about. But then as it's faded, it's just kind of like, that's not what I bought. I don't want it to look like that. I want it to look like the red that I purchased. doing that. Don't know if I'm taking stuff off. Maybe I should have tried to clean this somehow. It does say to clean the leather before you start the process, but I really didn't think it was that dirty. So I'm not sure what it's doing, but if it alters the color, it won't upset me. Now, I do like the distress look. I'm not trying to get rid of the distress necessarily, but I'm trying to make this leather look a little bit more like what I bought in the first place. I wasn't liking the faded red that much because it's just kind of turning into brown, and brown is great, but it's not what I purchased. So I purchased red wanting red for whatever reason. Now I can see some of the patina showing through, but it does seem to be helping it regain a little bit of its original color, maybe in a deeper way than it once was. Now I'm just trying to kind of buff it and absorb a little bit of the oil. It feels really nice. It feels very nourished, like restored kind of feel. Now as it dries, I'm still seeing a lighter bit here, darker here, but it does seem to have restored it. The leather, or not the leather, but the red stitching is kind of showing up a little more. So that'll be interesting to see what happens to that in a few hours when it's completely dry. Now this one, if it darkens it, it will return to the more natural. It came very dark and it's lightening with time. Now I get that that can be a thing that you might want, but in this case, like I said, really want to keep it dark. I notice that I repeat myself all the time in videos, and when I take the time to edit, I edit out a lot of repetition. So I find myself falling into that because I'm just yakking away and nobody's here to tell me to stop talking. Not that anybody would, but I might be able to tell by the social cues that I'm boring everybody. Oh my goodness. Okay. You can still see where my hand picks this up, but it is going back to darker, and that's a happy thing for me in this case. I have treated this with my spoon butter in the past. I'm sure it's got some similar ingredients. I think the spoon butter has like honey, beeswax and shea butter and coconut oil, I think. So it works good on it. It's worked well on this porous leather. I gave some to a friend and she said, "What did you give me? My notebook's all spotted up now." So it left little tiny pieces of coconut oil. But on this leather, it's good. This is really helping. This is helping restore the original depth of color. It's still got the hand mark and so on, but it seems like it is helping to get it back a little bit darker. This is the Coyote Ugly. It's Rustic Kodiak, speckled fawns, and at the time that I was purchasing it, they said request Coyote Ugly. So that's what I put in my notes, and I said rough edges, as ugly as possible, meaning as beat up and rustic looking as available. And it still looks rustic and beat up. I mean, beat up in a good way. It's not falling apart. It looks like it's been around for a while. I'm going to let these sit out and just kind of air dry. Maybe what I'll do is set them up like this and just give them a chance to let the air get to them. and I'll see how that looks. So thank you for coming along for that little bit of housekeeping. Might be of something of interest to you though. If you have some leather that you need restoring, or leather that you want to just rejuvenate, that's the word I've been looking for, this might be a good product for you. Again, it's called Cobbler's Choice Restore, Waterproof, and Protect. Okay, well that is all for now. Have fun restoring your leather, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care.